Does aluminum toxicity really cause Alzheimer's?
You know what? We've been debating this question since I was in medical school. I remember this debate in
I didn't even know you in
school.
medical school. We were not debating this.
Not
we.
you and I.
You said we.
Yeah, but in general, we,
Oh,
like the
like
royal
the community.
We. Yeah, or the royal.
The royal.
Yeah, like I didn't mean you and I.
Okay.
No. You knew me shortly after. You knew me when you were in med school.
Yes.
You did.
I know.
You were a clerk.
Yeah, you say aluminum, I say aluminium.
Oh, you know what the difference is between aluminum and aluminium?
No.
Nothing. In UK, in Britain, they say, and most of the English-speaking world actually says aluminium. Then in North America, around the 1800s, someone decided to call it aluminum.
Sounds weird. Welcome to Talking with Docs. I'm Dr. Bradley.
What do you say, aluminum or aluminum?
Aluminum.
So do I.
Yeah.
But most we should be saying aluminium.
You should introduce yourself.
I'm Dr. Paul Zalza.
Okay, so where did this all come from? So there's some studies in the 60s and 70s that looked at post-mortem brains of people that had Alzheimer's and dementia and compared them to people that didn't, and they found what they thought was more aluminum deposits in the brains of people with Alzheimer's and dementia compared to the average person.
Okay. So I'm going to say something first. Why not get rid of aluminum or aluminium altogether?
I think because
out of an abundance of caution.
Well, we're going to talk about whether or not there's even a link.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. And the second thing is aluminum is a very useful, practical, readily available metal that serves a lot of purposes for us.
It's amazing.
It is amazing.
It's number 13 on the periodic table.
Yeah. It's actually not unlucky.
No.
It's pretty lucky.
It's pretty lucky.
Yeah.
It's fully recyclable, so
Yes.
it's good for the planet. Its strength to weight ratio is second to none.
Nice.
It conducts heat and electricity
You know who
really
probably
well.
appreciates that? Like an ant probably appreciates that.
Yeah, an ant has a good strength to weight ratio too. But I mean, just for building stuff, we use it in the airplane industry. We use it in cars, electric cars. I think the chunk of the Tesla is made out of aluminum.
We used to use it in wiring.
We used it in wiring, but we stopped because pure aluminum it changes its shape or size quite a bit with heat. It's very sensitive to that. So as wires would heat up, they would lose their connection a little bit and switches and plugs, and that would cause sparks and cause fires. And we brought it in when copper prices were so high in the 50s and 60s, but then we switched back.
The mother of invention is necessity,
That's
right? It's
right.
like it's too expensive. And interesting about your point about making
Who's the father?
I'm not sure. Let's avoid that one. It's like a Jerry Springer episode.
Right.
Who's the father? 95% less energy to make aluminum from recycled aluminum than getting it from bauxite. So it's actually it's like better to make it recycled.
It's almost alive because it heals itself. If you scratch aluminum, see the outer coating of aluminum in air makes an aluminum oxide coating which protects it from rusting or from decomposing and stuff like that. And if you scratch it, it just makes a new little aluminum oxide layer instead of,
Very cool.
Now I'm not a material scientist by any stretch, but in some way it protects it.
Yeah. Okay, so first of all, where are people getting exposed to aluminum in 2025? Let's talk about that a bit.
So aside from the environment and just about everything you touch and use has some kind of aluminum in it, in your cookware, for example, pots and pans are sometimes made of aluminum, or at least they used to be.
Some of them are,
Can of pop, right?
Yep.
Just a can of soda. It's not the aluminum that's going to kill you, it's the soda inside.
No, and what's interesting is that the inner part of the can is actually not aluminum touching the pop.
Yeah.
It's actually lined with plastic, which is a whole nother video.
To protect you.
To protect you. The plastic's protecting you from the aluminum. But if that can gets bent, or if it's really old, that liner can break down, and then you actually have increased risk of not only getting more of the plastic, but also getting some of the aluminum. So if you have a dented or old can, probably best to, unless it was dented like 10 seconds ago.
Yeah. And then the other thing is aluminum foil, man. Holy cow, we use that a lot. And people still call it tin foil.
Tin foil.
You know why they call it tin foil?
Because it used to be made of tin?
It used to be made of tin, but it left a tinny taste in food, so they switched to aluminum just because it's a better material than tin. But people still, just like Kleenex and facial tissue, you don't say pass me a facial tissue, you say pass me a Kleenex. So people still say,
Kleenex made of aluminum?
Yeah. No, that's a whole separate topic. It's just, I'm just carrying on about the linguistics of it all.
Got it. And what I would say about the foil is that very, very small amounts of aluminum foil end up in your food. However, if you are putting more acidic foods like tomatoes or something like that in aluminum foil and then cooking it to a high heat, this actually can cause more of it to leach out and break down. So you get a very, very small amount. It's very real. It's not zero, but it's probably still negligible.
But for those of you that are still calling your aluminum foil tin foil, it's actually not tin foil. It's aluminum foil now.
Right, and I'd say the one other group that probably is the group that probably we need to be the most concerned about or work on protecting is the people that are working in the aluminum industry,
Yeah,
like
okay.
making it. So if you're touching it and exposed to it all the time,
Yeah.
precautions have to be taken in the workplace to protect you against those environmental or workplace
To a
exposures.
high heat if you're making an alloy or something else.
Right.
And the other exposure that we get is antiperspirant.
Yes.
Antiperspirant has aluminum in it. Deodorant does not.
Right.
But and so I think it's harder now to get antiperspirant deodorant, sort of much more common on the aisles if you look.
Yeah, and this relates to these previous studies, and certainly I had even stopped using antiperspirant because
I noticed.
that I was sweaty.
No, I just because you told me.
Yeah. You don't notice because someone tells you. But what I'd say is the aluminum molecule actually blocks the pore. That's how it works. Like it's a mechanism.
Yeah.
But some of that can be absorbed. And there were studies saying, well, hey, what are you using antiperspirant for? You're going to get Alzheimer's. You're like, okay, well, then I'll just use deodorant so you smell better. You're just sweatier.
It's good news, bad news.
And then I would say the market has shifted a bit, though, to more natural things or other molecules that can do a similar job, but aluminum is very, very effective at this. That's why people are reluctant to give up their antiperspirant.
I still use it.
Especially if you're sweaty. I'm thankful that you do.
Yeah.
Okay, so what does it actually look like? If you have aluminum toxicity, how would you even know? What kind of symptoms would you have?
Oh, like you mean like a clinical aluminum toxicity?
Yes, which is exceedingly rare.
Yeah.
But if you did.
Clearly, I've never seen this in clinical practice, but I know it gets deposited in the bone, the muscle, the brain, so you get things like confusion, muscle aches and pains, bone brittle, bone fracture, that
and
kind
bone
of stuff.
pain, because the way that that metal is deposited within the architecture of the bone. My bones are literally aching.
Yeah, I'm not sure how, I don't know. If you've ever had aluminum toxicity or
if you're a clinical person and you've seen it, let us know.
Let us know.
The way that it's diagnosed primarily is through blood and through urine testing. What's interesting is that the stuff that you do ingest, most of it gets passed out through your feces.
Yes.
Any residual stuff often gets sent out by your kidneys. These are our two big filters, right?
Yeah.
Gets rid of it. And then the tiny little bits then get deposited in brain, muscle, and bone. But again, it is very, very uncommon. Okay, so what's the take-home message for people out there that we have so many worries in our life?
Right.
We have so much stress.
Let this not be one right now for you.
I would agree.
You know, aluminum's everywhere, but there's a lot of good things about it. I mean, if you're thinking of forever plastics and substances like that, aluminum is much safer than those things.
We're not sponsored by Big Aluminum, just for the record.
No, big metal. No, but we're just saying that aluminum is such a useful thing to use in life in terms of building, cars, transportation, cooking, aluminum foil, all that stuff. It is very useful. The studies have never been reproduced that suggested that there is an association with Alzheimer's. It's not been proven. And so based on the research that we've done and looked at, there's really nothing to worry about in terms of causing Alzheimer's and using aluminum in your life.
What I would say is that if you're really worried and you're like, I don't even care if the studies don't show it, I'm getting aluminum out of my life, you consider things like ceramic and stainless steel cookware.
Yeah, most of the time we don't use aluminum cookware anyways.
No, you could use stainless steel or glass bottles and containers and just not buy pop, and you're probably going to be exposed to potentially some plastic, but you could get rid of the aluminum that way. You could obviously not use aluminum foil. You could use deodorant or non-traditional antiperspirant. So there are ways to get it out of your life if this is something that's important to you.
There's never you're not going to get out of your life completely.
But in some choices.
Yeah, fair.
Now, you know, if you like this video, please like it, subscribe to our channel, share your experience with aluminum, and maybe send it to someone that told you yesterday, hey, maybe don't use that aluminum foil because you're going to get Alzheimer's.
And send it to someone who says aluminium versus aluminum, or if they still call it tin foil, even though it's not made of tin anymore, or a tin can, which isn't tin anymore either.
There you go.
It's aluminum.
There you go.
Remember, you are in charge of your own health.
We'll see you next time.